City Hill Design. Tell me a little bit about how you guys, your sisters, obviously, how did it start? Give me a little background.
How deep do we go? Okay, so we started in the home building industry.
Yep.
We fell in love with it.
Okay.
I had built my first home, decided that I just loved it. So on the weekends, we were just visiting every new construction home that we could. And I was like, oh, this is so fun. At the time, I was in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, oh, this is so cool. Don't know how you'd ever get into it. Never thought interior design. But then Katie got approached one day. You want to tell that part?
Yeah, I had just gotten engaged.
Yes.
I just gotten engaged. She had built her house. Was like,
And no background in interior design at this point.
No.
Not what you studied?
No, I was I was like marketing communications.
I was liberal arts and business.
Yeah, okay.
Which serves us very well.
Sure.
It's a good amount of marketing and business.
Of course.
I mean, we've been able to keep it afloat because of that.
But I did a lot of graphic design,
Yeah.
which ended up translate like a lot of the things that you do in interior design translate very well with graphic design. Like a lot of the rules strangely overlap.
Yeah. There was some minor training.
Yeah.
Like in hindsight, like I apprenticed under a gal that had a custom workroom. And so she created draperies and pillows and all the things. And so I learned how to physically put them together.
Not knowing what you do.
Not knowing how that would serve me. What, 10 to 15 years later? It was high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing that.
Well, so you found obviously something you love to do, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, I landed, to go back, got approached while I was working in a membership and to build a first house. And they were like, do you want to come run a design center? And I was like, offer me the job on the spot. I said, absolutely.
So she worked there for a couple of years.
Then this is when
I got approached and to ask to sort of run the marketing department. And I was like, sure. I didn't realize that marketing department for a home builder looked a lot different.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of training with architects and the owners of the company that helped me learn all about floor plan and floor plan design. So I would walk probably, hundreds of houses a year where I would see a floor plan and then see that it would go
come to
up.
life.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And so when you do that, like you start to really grasp what floor plans are, what they'll do.
What it's going to turn out.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And marketing for them is like, okay, she walks the floor plans. She's also seeing what's selling.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, all right, I'm seeing 2 beds down. This certain configuration is what's selling like hotcakes in this certain area.
You're going back to the architects.
It was an entire entity of just not like, and price points and
then
finishes. I mean, it was very all inclusive.
So I got to even do sales centers within model homes. So there was 12 sales centers that we redid a specific year that I was there. And on each one of them, you would have the scent of the home, the feel of the home. We were really themey back then. So it was like theme of the home, just it was all encompassing. So then she and I started to work together a lot in that company even.
So they pulled me out of design center and said, can you start doing your model homes? And
started designing the model.
Talk about the quickest, fastest experience, like drinking through a fire hose that you can possibly get in the industry. So, I mean, for somebody to turn you loose and say, fully design, pick all of the finishes, and then execute the furniture to move in. But it was behind the marketing entity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Model Homes was marketing.
Yeah.
So I remember at one point I had called her while I was sitting in there. I was like, hey, I found this software. It's called like some free software called Urban Barn, and you can drag sofas in there and really figure out a layout. And she's like, all right, let's go.
Let's try that.
So I remember us hovering over my desk and being like, look, we could actually see like how many sofas we could fit in a room.
I mean, before I was like pencil and ruler.
Yeah, of course.
Scaled ruler.
Some graph paper.
Full set of floor plans, and we were rocking and rolling.
So we found this free program. Shout out to whoever did that, Urban Barn. And we went shopping a lot.
Yeah.
She had a newborn at the time.
And
Had a
1-year-old. my fun time was getting the newborn out
Yeah.
to go to Home Goods or, wherever we were headed.
And so we were able to do a luxury neighborhood too, which at the time, like a $900,000 price point was impressive, 8 to 900. We were like, this is
Yeah.
big. That was
This was
2016. And we're like, wow, this is a lot. So we
Changed real quick.
it hasn't, right? So we got to do everything from mailboxes to the signage to the preview party to get into the neighborhood. My husband was building them. You were doing the model home.
And meeting with all the clients that were building that model.
And then when she went on maternity leave, I took over some of the design on that. So we got to do that. And a couple of clients just fell in love with the work you did on that model home. And we said, hey, we got full permission to do some stuff on the side. And we were like, all right, let's do these things. So we did 2 houses. I think we shopped locally for everything in there.
Yeah.
Stuff that we do
Crazy.
today.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And
And then we look back and send pictures of our own homes. What,
Oh, it was
15 years ago?
embarrassing.
This was just the other day.
It was terrible.
And laugh ourselves
And
out
you're
of the room.
critiquing yourself.
So the fact that people gave us chests and let us design their homes is shocking.
Well, that's funny too, because it's not always, I think in any profession, it's not always what you do personally and how you advise your clients. We're the same in the mortgage world sometimes. It's like, they say, well, you're going to refinance your loan. You'll be the first to refinance your loan at the right rate. Well, no, that's it never happens.
No.
You're busy helping your clients, and what you do is not always a reflection of your professional life sometimes too. So I mean, I've heard that in many different industries. So that's interesting. So it kind of all just kind of sounds like it just slowly kind of came together with your professional lives, kind of finding your footing,
Yeah.
your personal lives, and then just at some point it was kind of the right spot to go out and say, hey, can we do this on our own?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually got fired from our jobs for no cause of our own.
It's not.
We got fired, and
There's always a good firing story
there is a good firing story.
to light the fire.
And so
No pun
you
intended.
get fired, and that was really
And that
the
night,
push.
yeah, we had saved at the time. We had saved $5,000 from a job that we had done, and we're like, this is our nest egg to start it.
Yeah.
Laughable now.
Yeah.
But we did it.
Yeah.
We did it with $5,000. We got a website. We
And a tiny notepad.
tiny notepad. My aunt's neighbor was, I think, our first real job. We had 1 bucket of samples, and we thought that was a lot, and we kept it under our laundry room cabinet. And we would pull out that 1 bucket of samples and set it on my couch and just work away at our computers.
And got really scrappy.
Yeah.
Really,
You have to
really
be, right?
scrappy.
You have to be. And I think, getting anything started in a business, that first 12 months or 18 months, 24 months, that's tough.
It's tough.
It's tough.
We truly took on every job that came our way.
Yeah.
We had a schedule, so we decided that we were going to have a 4-day work week because we wanted to be able to stay home with our kids just a little bit more than we had been. So we worked Tuesday through Friday, and to this day, we've kept it at that.
That's great. Yeah.
So on Tuesday, we would have an office day. This was in the early days. On Wednesday, we would have a presentation. Thursday would be we would go out and have consults. And then Friday would be our install day. And we ran it like a machine. Every week, we did the same.
Stayed on task.
And it
stayed on
was-
schedule.
Mhm.
Projects this big that you could turn out quickly,
Yeah.
paint colors, or even the install might have just been wallpaper going up in a mirror in a powder bath, or something on a smaller scale. But
Yeah.
we would take on.
You took on everything you could.
Everything.
Of course. Yeah.
You never
You
turned
have-
a project
you're,
down.
You're feeling it. And you don't really know, and I don't know, I don't know with my business.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you guys knew, you may have had designs of where you wanted it to go.
Yeah.
But you're not always in control of that either, and how you certainly get there. I mean, you can do the things that push you towards your goals, obviously, but the path is certainly not a straight line.
No,
It doesn't
don't
sound
you
like it is
feel
for
you feel like you have imposter syndrome for a very long time
Yeah.
of I'm not qualified to do this. But I think we found out that if you just practice something and you study it, You can learn anything.
And I also think if you're genuine,
Yes.
and if you have some vulnerability about you, it's okay.
Yes.
And as entrepreneurs, I think I've talked to a lot of real estate agents. I've talked to some business owners, and it is kind of a common theme that kind of comes back when you self-analyze and think about it. Is there is the whole fake it till you make it kind of concept,
100.
but it's also some of the putting yourself out there and be willing to take those chances, which you guys obviously were. And and I've been in parts of my career where I've stepped out and done that as well. And there is a lot of vulnerability with that, and faith, and just
100%.
kind of trust it. Was that easier being sisters?
Yes, I think because we trusted one another. And so when I would feel self-conscious about something, she would be like, no, we got this, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And to this day, I mean, we just opened that last show house, or just closed the last show house that we did. And she's like, what was that one thing that you were so nervous? Oh, the countertop material in our kitchen. And she loves some wild countertop material. And she was so nervous about this particular selection. And I was like, the conservative one here, that is the least of my worries. So we are going to roll with it.
Okay.
We are rolling with it. And guess what? It was probably the most asked question of the whole show of like,
Yeah.
where did y'all get this countertop? Yeah. This is fabulous. Yeah. So it's just like, it's a give and take between both.
That's the show you're mentioning? Okay, yeah. I liked it too. Yeah.
Did you come through?
I did. Yeah, I liked it. I think I missed you. I didn't.
Yeah, I saw you.
Yeah. And is this the one that you ran up the backsplash and over the Vinahood as well too? Am I thinking right?
She got real nervous about it for what it is.
It was bold. It was a little bit bold, but it fit, and I liked it. No, and it's interesting you brought that up, because that was one of the things. Obviously, I remembered it, and I think you walk through a bunch of beautiful homes there, but it is those little fine details of the things that kind of pop out and stand out to you, and that was one for.
And it's funny because sometimes it's the things that make you the most nervous that you need to do to make a house feel a little bit special.
Right. Different on something. And I think that's unique too, kind of going back to what you guys mentioned is getting a start in your career and working for the builder in the design centers and being that bridge, I guess, if you will, between the customer,
Yep.
what their desires were, what was selling, what they were looking for, whether it was bedroom count and, 2 bedrooms down or whatever you mentioned there, right? Back to the architects, and I would imagine that's a lot of stuff you still do today,
100%.
of hearing and listening and understanding, and how to take that and turning into something real.
Yeah.
I feel it. I mean, we pride ourselves in a way of loving contractors that we work with. I think it's because we've been there and we've seen the other side. When her husband is a contractor.
Sure.
And it's just like you see both sides of it all, and you're like, I can help them get along and make this a pleasant experience for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what, I mean, it served us so well.
I just don't understand people that aren't team players either. Like,
No.
why can't we just all be on the same team and accomplish a good goal together? That's probably why we all work so well together. It's just be a good team.
No one's getting anywhere without the team effort anyway.
Yeah.
And if you have a client or a contractor that maybe you've gotten sideways over something, whatever, there's building a house, there's a million things to get sideways over, right?
Yes,
And
stress.
high stress, a lot of money involved.
Most personal.
It is very personal. So you've got all of that. I think that's something that's an interesting dynamic that I've never thought about with y'all's role, or maybe it's something you personally in y'all's company has taken on, is this voice back to the contractor and this communication skills, right? And hearing and listening and to be able to communicate that back to something that is going to turn into the finished product that, both your clients and the contractor's clients ultimately love and enjoy for however long they're going to be there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that we've loved is we take a lot of pride in making something that's going to stand test of time, and not to say like, oh yeah, we're going to push some limits. You're going to have to update something eventually, but we take pride in in creating something that's going to last. I mean, your home's going to be around if you build it. It's going to be around for a few hundred years, I hope. Like, I hope nobody knocks it down.
Right.
And I hope nobody wants to knock it down because you did it correctly.
Yeah. That's with that piece of it, and it's so personal to people. What do you guys feel like as far as the trends and things go, and it is personal to someone, is there an advisory of, hey, you may not want to do that, do you guys try to impart your own style? Everybody's got a different style and they've got something they like. Do you guys find it challenging to balance that, especially if you have somebody who wants to do something that's a little bit more crazy than maybe what you guys might recommend?
I have a soapbox on this. I really dislike man-made materials.
Okay.
Or we really dislike man-made materials.
So we preach it from the beginning. Those first phone calls, those first things. And if somebody just keeps gravitating towards man-made everything, we're going to have an honest conversation. It's going to be like, we're probably not going to be the best fit for you.
Right. Right. So at this point, you don't have to take on every job.
We don't.
Right. And you're able to kind of take your style and your end results, because it is your business, right? The things that you guys create is going to help propel your business, forward and beyond. And while things will change, and I'm sure there's different things to navigate in the future that we'll all face in our businesses, but it is a lasting piece of art, essentially, that you guys are creating, that your future clients are going to be looking at too.
And there's some styles that we just don't even have the vendors to help you get there.
Yeah.
I feel like there's every home we started in the beginning, we're like, hey, we don't want you to walk through a door and be like, I know that's a City Hill house. We want it to be very individual for the person. So we work really hard to get to know the person. But within that, there's certain styles that we can accomplish
some fundamentals
well.
to it.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's just certain looks that we can't accomplish.
So with that, what do you feel like has changed over? And I see homes all the time. Of course, we're financing them, so I'll see things that need to be updated or have been updated, and I'm always talking to real estate agents, especially in the existing world of, why isn't a house selling? It could be updates, it could be all those kinds of things. From roughly, let's call it 2015. I know you guys opened in 2017, right?
Yeah.
But you've been doing this longer. And what have you, in 10 plus years, how have things changed in the bigger world of interior design in terms of style and what people are doing?
I feel like at one point, everyone was going so neutral and so safe. I would say, including ourselves. We listened to a panel at Market last month or 2 months ago, and somebody said something of, I feel like we got stuck in our houses during COVID. We looked around and realized, I hate gray, white, and black. Like, I am so bored.
And that was the quick fix for everything.
Yeah.
Or that has been the quick fix.
It was, yeah.
So if you need to update your home,
You need to update-
neutral.
Go neutral.
Yeah.
Or I will say, without fail, our clients that choose the selections that are beautiful, not paying attention to whether they're bold or not, but just beautiful selections that fit within the style of the house, their houses sell.
Yeah.
All the time. But it has to be done with intention and with thought, and just done well. You don't have to go the most expensive everything, but just do it well.
I noticed that, like, with this latest Vesta show, was that it seemed to me as somebody who, knows nothing about
No, I want to hear
style
your
or design.
Give us your hot
Right.
take.
So obviously more bolder colors and more colors in just in general. But I felt like, and obviously you guys did such a good job with yours, and even some of the other homes too, that each room was done in a way that it became its own theme, own kind of color, whether it's color scheme or design. They were all somewhat individual, rooms. And so that each room kind of stood on its own. And I think that, to me, really is actually appealing, is that each room has its own style and color and things, but it also, the challenge is, if I were doing that, I'd have a a hodgepodge of rooms and style that would never fit one another. But I think that
Right.
the real art in what you guys bring together is how to do that, but keep the flow going from room to room.
That is 100% the feedback we received, was just like, the house is so cohesive. The house flows so naturally.
Yeah.
So naturally.
But a lot of people said every room was its own journey. Like, oh, every room had something memorable in it.
And they couldn't wait to walk around the corner to see what was next.
Excellent.
And I was like,
Yeah.
that was a goal that we had from the beginning.
What does it challenge you with that kind of in that same line of thinking? Is it challenging with some of the more open spaces that are now being built with that? Because if you have, in most cases, you have an entry, a dining room, a living room, and kitchen, certainly, all open where in your vision, from any of those vantage points, you can see all of these other rooms, right? Without the closed off walls with the old designs of things. But I guess that probably presents a new challenge, given that we have one large open living space and an open design, but how do we create unique living spaces within that larger space?
I think one of the things that I love with the open floor plans that we have and have had, it's creating the openings within them. So it's creating, how bullnose corners were really big? You don't have an opportunity to stop paint or start a wallpaper when you have that. It's like this strange little stopping point. So it's bringing back the cased openings that you can create a new room within those open areas, or just creating a square corner that you can actually stop something and start something fresh.
There's a lot of that too.
Yeah.
With each room's different color, that where those paint, where that paint stopped, because in a lot of cases you would have a door where half the case was painted, and then on the other side it was more back to the hallway color, and then again into another room.
It's tricky.
Yeah, I bet.
And we kept going back to, everyone would walk in and be like, this feels so good. And I was like, well, it starts with the architecture. It does. And I think we have become very large advocates for really good architecture. And it's like, sometimes somebody's not quick to pinpoint what it is, but like when diving into those questions that they're asking us, there's like, this is what it is. It's like we always joked, and we brought it up multiple times this past month, of just like, we could have only been as good as the architecture allowed us to be, like, had it been too wide open, or they had not created any sort of, just some simple divisions that they did for us, it would have, I don't know, it felt like you were in a arena of sorts, or, something like that. It's just like, you wanted it to feel more
kind of your campus, right?
Yeah.
Kind of it's your campus.
And you can only go as far as what they have drawn. And so if they haven't drawn in fine detail and interesting things to look at, you can only edit a field set of plans so far.
The rule
You
in
can only
art where it's like, you need to know the rules first. You can break the rules once you know them, but you got to know the rules. It's similar with architecture. Like, go architecturally correct. You could break them a little bit, but for the most part, stick to them, and everybody's eye knows that it's right, even though they might not be able to put a finger on
I
it.
think that might be true of a lot of different businesses too. I've never really heard it said that way, but you obviously have to know the fundamentals of whatever industry and business you're in. But without knowing those hard and fast rules, it is hard to push the boundaries out.
You don't know where to bend them.
Yeah.
Or break or move them.
Yeah.
Or edit them.
And if you do something, you may break something, and not knowing, and even in our world, and not as near as fun or interesting, but in our world of how good mortgage companies push the boundaries of what has been done before, and how do we change? And we're in a very commoditized industry. We're the completely opposite industry now that I'm thinking about it.
Least creative,
right? I mean,
Maybe they're creative.
Like in a way.
our loans go to the same places. I tell people all the time is, if you can get a loan from local mortgage, you can get a loan from XYZ company. Maybe with on the fringes, I'm sure somebody would argue and said, well, there's a few different underwriting guidelines or criteria. Not really, very small percentages of that. So for the most part, for most people, it's a matter of how much you're going to pay for it, what's your experience going to be like. And I guess in our world, that's where we can, shift and change and create our own art, so to speak, of how we differentiate our company versus, the competitor down the street. And for you guys, it is, coming back to that is a little bit, you guys, every project is so unique that is y'all's challenge. I would assume is how not to stay in that same, as you mentioned, you guys did not want to feel like, oh, well, this is, I walk into a house and immediately know it's City Hill did this. And to create that uniqueness, but also stay within your core values and your framework. So I found that real interesting, and how you frame that about being able to bend the rules of, you really can't do that. And I think that's true of probably any business and any profession. You think about like great doctors or physicians who come up with some, unique way to treat something, or, way without knowing what could happen. It's hard to find that creativity.
Right. But I think going back to what you said of like, what do y'all do so well? You guys do education so well, because I feel when I've talked to you about my personal stuff, you are educating me, I feel like, along the way. And I feel like that's what we do too, is like just educate the people and teach them the rules as you go. And then you can come up with something really cool.
So I am a big believer that nobody wants to be sold anymore.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yes.
I don't think your clients do. And I think that selling in today's world is more about education. And I would use the word education is one. I would also use just communication.
Yes.
And while like every client that I talk to, they'll have a different, kind of circumstance or, financial situation or goals or whatever it is, you guys have a similar, piece of that, or whatever your clients want to do. And to me, it's about listening and being able to communicate in a way that makes our clients feel good about the choices they're making and the money that they're spending.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that's probably what you guys feel too. And it's got to be a lot of anxiety too, because you guys are making choices before seeing the finished product. In my world, the ones and zeros kind of always add up to the same amount.
And you have a hard and fast.
Exactly. And with y'all's, there's a lot more outcomes, I guess, that could
2 + 2 could equal a lot in our world.
So here's a hard question. So what is without getting into too much detail, what's the worst job that you guys have ever had?
God.
Y'all agree on that? Is there one that kind of sticks out that you learned a lot from? That didn't turn out like you wanted, or was there anything?
Can I answer that 2 ways?
Yeah.
Okay, first off, what was the most disappointing job? I think it was when the contractor going back to team player was not a team player.
Oh yeah.
And he threw us under the bus. It was not truthful.
Never going to be a good outcome when that happens.
Yeah, it was not truthful. And then if you pit him and say, hey, that wasn't true, then it's he said, she said, and it broke our hearts, because
we took a higher road, I would say.
Yeah.
And didn't come back and argue or make him look bad. And
it's getting into that. There's never going to be.
Lost a favorite client.
Yeah, we lost a really good client over it. Yeah. And that's really stunk.
But you learned from it.
We did.
Oh, 100%.
You learned from it.
Yes. And I think we learned how to handle people a lot better, handle a contractor a lot better. And I think in hindsight, we would have set everybody down at a table and just showed them everything. Yeah, we could have handled that a lot better, but communication's hard in business.
It is.
It's really learning how to do that. Okay, least favorite projects. I don't think there's a specific one, but I just hate when they don't trust the vision. I hate when they can't see it and trust us and our skills enough to know, like, okay, they got it. Without fail, a job, when we install, they say that it looks better than they could have imagined. And we're sitting there saying, well, it's exactly like we imagined.
Right.
It's just hard. It's very challenging to get the full vision in front of them when you're working with paper and computer screens and things and software. We have some pretty amazing software that
Yeah, I'm
then
sure that's evolved a lot of the last
it's straighter and
free version.
Yeah, from the free. Yes, this definitely
Just to we do want to tell that your clients that might be listening to this, you guys have upgraded your software. You've got paid software.
we work in very specific software now.
Okay.
Yes,
Your free trial's not going to run out in the middle
it's
of the
not.
project.
No,
Okay.
no,
Yeah,
definitely not.
that's good. I think it is though, communication with that and selling your vision. And I think too that obviously every client is different, whether it's a emotional, situation or a financial situation. So you've got all kinds of factors that for all of us, we're human beings, are going to impact on how we communicate or how we interact with one another. But I think selling that trust, right? They hired you for a reason, and finding ways for you guys to, when you have those anxious clients, of trust us, you hired us for a reason. You're paying your hard-earned money to us to bring this vision to light, and to trust your not only working with you but your track record too.
Yeah.
And I think that's sometimes you have to remind folks of that too when you say that they don't maybe trust the vision, and it is hard to see, and it is hard sometimes to see it all come to light. And it's interesting when you said too that it comes out exactly how you guys envision. That was the plan, and now let's make you guys
the best example was just even because we had no client on the show home. We were our own client and the contractor essentially. And a couple of times, and we love them to death, they kept wanting to know what was this going to look like. Because they would see one thing going at a time or see one selection come in at a time. And they would
panic over some of our, paint colors.
They saw your countertop first.
Yes. They're like, what are y'all doing?
And it's like we could only get it to them as quickly as we could. And we were
like, it's in our head. We just, you just have to nail everything down.
And without fail, they came back and they were like, wow, this
it was better than
we could have expected it, from coming to life.
Yeah.
Just the layers and the.
Well, and I guess them seeing it, one piece at a time.
No, absolutely. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
It's almost better if a client, which just never happens, so this would be an oddity, as if a client lived overseas, and so we manage the whole thing, and then all of a sudden they just show back up a year later and it's done.
And the thing is, we don't do like the City Hill show where we don't get to know our person to find out. I feel like there's so much psychology behind all of this too. So it's not like we're just creating whatever's in our brain that we want to get out. It's a lot of you start to see trends and things that they like, and even the clothes that they wear, how they interact with one another, what they value. There's just a lot of different things that translate into our art.
For example, they come to you and I just love neutral. I love everything white and whatever. And she's got on the most fabulous fur coat that's red and the most beautiful handbag and, another set of color. And she's a big personality in an event. She's fun. And you're like,
you don't like neutral.
Are you sure?
I don't.
Because everything about you and how you present yourself and how you interact with everyone is the exact opposite of, what you might be saying.
You might be helping people find a whole different, section of their person.
Or is it, or
are they that fun and whatever in life and need something that is calm and serene and stable? It's just like you're asking 500 questions trying to get to know somebody.
And picking up on all of the
clues.
And there's been, I would say, a few times early on that we would be like, oh, I think we've nailed them. I think we know exactly who they are. And then they'll come in for a meeting and shock us with a revelation of something we had no clue about. And sometimes it takes little pivots to make sure that their style looks exactly like
that's interesting.
They are.
Interesting. I never think about that. And that's a good thing to know that you guys are picking up on those. That should give your clients comfort that you guys might be seeing something they're not. And obviously you have to communicate that. You're not going to, make these changes and go, no, this is who you are, but communicating those options, I guess. So how many options, and I do this when I'm selling, right? Or I'm presenting, loan terms or loan options or whatever. Can you give too many?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would imagine so.
So if you can imagine, every option is an option for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going with millions of choices, and we need to hone those into 2
And what's very frustrating
mags.
is if somebody, you give them an option and then they pick the wrong one. So if that's the case, you shouldn't have even given
Given
them
them
an
the
option.
option. We have learned that too.
Like if there's one that's weak in your head, but you're putting it in there for price point or a safe bet, but you know that it's just not going
Not
to,
right with the
it's
full
not
picture.
right,
Yeah.
take it out.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means I feel like we've kind of hit a groove that we really don't give a lot of options, except for 1 to 2 per room, where it feels like somebody's able to make a small decision. Feels like they still feel like they're in control a little bit, but it doesn't unravel the whole look of the room.
So ideally, you guys, when you guys take on a job, whether it's a full house or a room, you've listened to your client.
Mhm.
You've tried to understand style, understand what they want, and you're creating this vision for them in your own mind. Yet you still, because I would, feel a little awkward. I'm sure you guys would too if you didn't give me any options,
Yes.
right? If you just said, "Okay, I'll take care of it."
Dude, we are like,
Gosh.
this is what you're
Yeah,
going to
this is
do,
what you're gonna
and we're going to hold you to it.
That's right. So you've got to give me options.
Yeah.
But my options could change the vision that you guys have for this particular space.
100%.
And so you guys have got to really think about it, and especially if you're dealing with someone like me, don't let me screw it up, right?
Yes.
And it
Which-
goes back to that trust.
I know this sounds so dramatic, but little options can screw it up. And I feel like even somebody saying like, this is a great example. Not every piece can be a hero in the room, but every piece needs to work together harmoniously so your whole room is the hero. So you might look at that table and say, that's not my favorite table. That's okay. You're going to love the room though because you have that table in it. So you don't need every piece to be your hero.
You don't have to overthink every little small
Yes.
detail of that. It's
Yes.
trusting kind of the bigger vision
Right.
of the space.
Right.
Yeah. And for me, and I know most probably guys are like me too, it's like I wouldn't know it until I saw it anyway,
Yes.
Yeah. And
It's great when y'all go out of town.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, I'm sure. And so it's I would rather kind of be guided with that, and give up the trust of it to the professionals who are going to know a whole lot more about it than me. I'm just nervous that if I ever hire you guys, I'm going to be a nervous wreck on what I wear to meet with you.
Yes.
So.
We'll somehow
We already know too much.
Yep. We'll make it to people's closets and be
Yeah.
like, all right, this is actually them.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting of the psychology of it, and I knew there's a lot of psychology involved in what you guys are doing. I didn't really realize the detail of
At least to us.
what you guys are putting into it. I think that's a phenomenal. Yeah.
I feel like good designers clue in on this stuff.
Well, it's also funny because furniture is so, you live on it for a very long
Yeah.
time, and it's part of who you are in a way. Someone the other day said furniture is actually important because you live on it, you grow up on it, you even die on furniture. Like it's very important. And there's a lot of emotional connection with furniture. So you may see something that reminds you of your grandmother, but you may hate your grandmother or you may love your grandmother. So it's also figuring out those little nuances. There was a guy once that we had chosen a cane back chair, and he says, I just don't like this chair. And we're like, all right, tell us more. Like, help us know so we don't do this again. He was like, I don't know. A few minutes go by and he goes, I know. When I was a kid, I used to get in trouble and have to sit in this chair, and it was my timeout chair, and it was cane, and I would stick my fingers in the holes while I was waiting for the time to go down. And I was like, well, there you have it. We will not have cane in your house.
We're going to remove this immediately. No. That's so what do you guys feel like is next in y'all's world, technology wise? I mean, artificial intelligence. I know things have come a long way from your free version of your software to now clients being able to see designs and bringing that to life more in a way where they can see it. Is that going to continue to evolve, I would imagine, with all of the AI and all of the things that are out there? I mean, is that on the forefront in y'all's industry?
Yeah, and I feel like even AI, it's almost like you have to embrace it, use it safely and embrace it, because it's here.
Yeah.
And it is helpful. It's a helpful tool. We started on our program. We kind of tried to look ahead a little bit when we chose which one we wanted to learn and invest in. So we have a lot of 3D software. So a lot of stuff we're able to model for people, which is nice. You can even take it a step further, put those renderings that you design into AI and have AI give you even more realistic images than you could create, because sometimes when you create it, the renderings take 8-10 hours to create because it's so many layers involved. You throw it into an AI and within 30 seconds, they take your complete design that you've done and just make it the colors and tones more lifelike for people. So I feel like it helps people be able to see envision a lot more.
What about the kind of economic world of tariffs and where you guys source things from? I know, has that impacted y'all's business? I mean, even going back to COVID, I know with the backlog of being able to get materials or furniture or anything like that, how has that leveled off? Is that back to normal, would you say? I mean, how are things like that?
It is not as severe as we experienced during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Has it put a damper on some things? Absolutely. Did some fabulous light fixtures not show up in time for something that we wanted for? Absolutely. I think, though, that because we did ride through pandemic, it has just made us a little savvier on how we approach
How you source things.
and source.
Yes.
We have gotten a lot better at keeping things on track without it being, you don't have to wait a whole year for an entire house or a room of furniture to come in. It was rolling that way.
Yeah.
At times. And we've just gotten better about communicating up front when things like this happen and making sure that people understand that it's like some of this stuff's out of our control.
Right.
And
going back to communication too, set proper expectations too.
And financially too. It's like, I saw an order came through last night and I was like, no one told us that there's, the extra $40 tariff just slapped on there. And and people don't understand. Like that is just completely built into, we just have to eat it.
Yeah, we do. We eat a lot of this.
So we have
because you don't even know in the furniture industry until you receive the invoice, because they have terminology set into place that they say,
we charged you
extra
dollars for gas because that truck is taking a lot. It's a weird world, and it's like sometimes these consumers or clients are so used to seeing everything, I say, through the Amazon lens. It's everything's free shipping and everything's free. And I was like, no, nothing is free shipping. It is all built in. And so we
built into the cost.
We have tried to model that in a way too, where, some of our way we present things to it is all inclusive. So no one wants to feel nickel and dimed.
And everyone hates to pay for shipping.
I hate paying for shipping.
Sure.
So we do build it into our costs now.
Yeah.
And so we know going into it that it's like, at one point, I want to say when we learned the hard way during the pandemic is that we would price something, that was the price what it is. We had no clause in our contracts and things of just like, hey, it's good for 7 days.
Where you could push that through.
It's only good for 7 days at this point. And so, we recheck pricing every 7 days if it takes you that long to, however long you need to make a decision.
Yeah, that price could change. Yeah.
It could go up or down.
So with that, so people listening or watching and seeing this, what do they expect as far as if they hire you for a project? Is it, obviously, detailing the cost out with that, but giving them a pretty good range within being able to move some of those variables? Because, the larger the project is, you've got to have some room for things to happen. And things will happen, whether it's extra shipping costs or tariffs or delays or fuel surcharges or what have you. I mean, so how do you guys navigate? Have you guys had to learn to, like, as those things have happened, to how to build it into your business so that it's fair to your business and also fair to your clients?
Yes.
Yeah, I would imagine so. And that comes back to communication. That comes back to communication and setting the standards and the proper expectations of it.
Yeah, proper expectations is huge because we'll ask for their budget number and then we'll clearly explain, like, all right, the images you're seeing on Instagram, and not just our work, but a lot of people's work, how much will that actually cost you? And we have an average that we say, hey, rooms, if you're seeing and you want it done top to bottom, like you're seeing, and typically you're only happy because we're bombarded with this stuff. You are only happy when it's fully done. So we'll challenge people to work on one room at a time, or else pick a grouping of rooms and let's really complete those rooms before we move on to everything. If you shotgun rooms, you have a few pieces in every room and then your house feels just like it did before we came. Yeah.
You just bought random pieces.
So let us finish a phase. Sometimes we work with large numbers, sometimes we work with smaller numbers, and then people will phase it as they go. It just kind of depends on projects.
Yeah. And, for most people's homes, if it's not a brand new home completely redone, it's ever changing. It's a project that never ends, for home ownership and making it yours. And it's something that always.
And we never want to discount anyone that doesn't have an open-ended budget.
Yeah. Everybody has a budget.
Everybody has a budget of some sort. And we were like, it is so rare to find any individual that can fully complete a home top to bottom.
Right.
It's like no one typically has that amount of cash. If it is, there's, it's rare. And even those that say they have an open-ended budget, there's thresholds. Like there's always a threshold, no matter what it is. That
Well,
don't want.
you guys have to understand what that is, right? You have to understand what budget you have to be able to bring this vision together, whether it's one room or the whole house.
Yeah. That being said, there's sometimes that we do have to turn down projects that are a good fit, good client fits, just because we don't have the vendors that could support whatever number that they gave us, like a lower end number, just because we're like, well, you're going to really struggle paying that for a lamp when that's your budget is one lamp. It's hard. It's we want to help everybody.
Yeah.
I think that's our heart.
Sure. Well, last question. Where do you guys see your business going? What you obviously had a good, you've built it up. You've had the pandemic. Challenges faced there. You've learned a lot of things. What's your goals? Where do you want to take this?
Katie?
And I guess I should have made sure y'all are on the same page before I asked this question.
We have this desire to open a store.
Okay.
We're in the works of it now. It's kind of scary, a little out of our comfort zone. We always said we would never do retail. But we sense a need in Memphis for some retail. But it's also a terrible time to open a retail spot. Yeah. So
Wendy said, we said that was the next goal. So once we got through show home thing, was to kind of divert energy that way. Yeah,
because I feel like we have design clients. They're typically like upper end, as they have a certain number to spend. But then we have a lot of people that we love and care for deeply that just need like a little bit down from that. Offer some design services that are not like the full end, picking every trim and fabric detail, just like a little bit
some moderate
step down. Yeah, but still a great look.
Because we are a luxury niche service, and we know that. We always joke that sometimes we probably couldn't afford ourselves. We could, just because that's where we are. But it's like, okay, our personal selves. We have a great number of friends that are in the same arena that we are. And we were like, they want a little bit of it.
Yeah.
They want to be able to do something like that and get a little touch of it.
They don't need the full thing.
They don't need the full thing. And I think it's just trying to broaden our horizon a little bit to...
I think that's great, yeah.
Where we aren't having to be so fully involved in all their details, where they could come into some place and take home a little bit of that to help. and work on it, over time, where we don't have to be there and they aren't having to pay us for our time to create all of this. So that's kind of our goal.
Also, I want to do a full construction beach house. Dying to do that.
We're going to manifest the rest of
Okay.
this.
Okay. I know you guys have done some stuff out of state, right? I did.
I had this opportunity to meet this individual over the summer.
Basically, we want to design Kevin Costner.
And we want Kevin Costner. So we're going to say that too. We're going to put that out there.
Okay.
So
Yep.
if you hear that,
Kevin.
he needed some help with some pickleball courts he put in a house in Aspen. And we said we would fully furnish those pickleball courts for him if he would allow us to come out there.
So Kevin Costner,
That
beach house,
shooting for the stars.
and a store.
Okay. Well, we're going to be looking for all of that. You know.
Do you know the funny thing is we do goals every year. We type it out and we stick it on our bulletin board in our printer room. And I think every one has happened.
Yeah.
Minus an HGTV show that we wanted. That didn't
time
help
for
them.
that.
There's still time.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've
Well,
gotten close.
I think in all seriousness, with the goal in running a business, you're going to. It's never a straight path.
No.
It's never a straight line from A to B to C. But I think that when you find the things that make sense for you personally, and that makes sense for your business, and that makes sense for clients, much like you said about the retail store or a space to where if someone doesn't want a full design, they can still get, a piece of this or a piece of that. As long as you continue to do the little things that propel your business and reach more people, even if it is a small level, I feel like that will continue to build your overall brand. It builds your overall reach, and not every client has to be a home run, full interior design redo of their entire home or brand new construction. But being able to do that and broaden y'all's, I think it'll serve all of your business. You'll meet more people. And I think it's a great thing to kind of continue to plod along, even with the success that you guys have, is making those goals. And even if they're very small, much smaller than, designing Kevin Costner's pickleball courts. But
I want his house, not his pickleball.
it's a means to.
She wants his
it's just
pickleball.
an-
No, we just had to get a foot in.
Yeah.
That's
That
was just the foot in the door.
In the door.
Right. That makes sense. Well, thank y'all for doing this. I hope it was fun for you guys. It's good to spend some time with you.
Yeah.
Thank y'all.